Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
We are back with another Triathlon podcast, and this week, unfortunately, we're not joined by Fede, but I've got Josh with me here, and we're going to run through everything that has gone down in the triathlon world with a little bit of Tour de France, because how could we not? It was an epic 3 weeks of racing. And as always, we're brought to you by Mauna Apparel, which I want to make a quick mention. If you're going to be out there racing Ironman Calgary 70.3, which is practically my backyard, we're going to be hosting a Mauna Pop Up shop and a little bit of a hangout social time because, well, we all spend way too much time training by ourselves in the pain cave. So come join us. I'll put a sign up in the show notes here on Friday night from 4 to 7. We'll do a little social time, pop-up shop, snaps, drinks, and we will also do a quick seminar on the Calgary course. If not, you can join us virtually. We're going to be doing a webinar with myself and two of the Mauna coaches, Philip and Sergio, and we're going to talk about how to have your best race day. So again, I'll put those links in the notes. If you want to RSVP to join us in person or virtually for that seminar, you are absolutely welcome. But let's roll into what's going on here at the moment. Josh, how are you doing? How's the training going?
The training has been fast and furious, often just full boat, big 3-week build, and ended that with entering kind of, I think we talked about it on one of the last pods, but doing that mile road race. Mm-hmm. So I did that yesterday morning and did like a good 20-mile track warm-up and went. There were so many people that entered this race that they had to break down the open mile road race, men's and women's, into a 40 plus, 40 to 59, and then a 60 plus. Like there were just so many. So they didn't want more than 100 at a time going. So it was like a lollipop type course where we went out on the right and up and around and a little bit of a circle, not too much of a tight turnaround, but a turnaround. And then came back and man, these guys are fast. I mean, like I knew when I was doing my strides on the track warming up, and I'm running like low 5s or late high 4s on my 30-second sprints, and I'm barely catching the guys doing their warm-up loops. It's like, oh man, this is crazy. But this was a USATF like Grand Prix road race series, summer series type thing. So these guys are in this, like they're racing every week and doing this all summer long. It's what they do. But it was really neat to hop in and do pretty well and get a PR in my mile and awesome. Without a taper. I mean, I had just done a 3-hour bike ride and a run off the bike the day before in the middle of the afternoon. Yeah, not even like early morning either. So I had about a 13-hour recovery going into a all-out.
Plenty. Mile. I'm sure Garmin was recommending a little bit more than that, but it's all good.
It was good. It wasn't part of the plan, and we wanted to throw it in to see how it went. And then I had a nice little hour-ish warm-down run, and I was in Hopkinton, Mass, for the mile run, and I was like, you know what? I've never run the marathon course. So I went and did the first couple miles of the Boston Marathon. And
nice.
What that downhill was like, and then I was like, oh, crap, I got to run back on this out and back. I'll tell you, if you have to do the reverse Boston Marathon, it's no fun. But got that done and then did a swim later in the night. And Janine came to the pool with me. And then been doing my daily morning runs, been either 20, 25, or 30 in the morning. So double sessions. And that's gone really well. My body's responded well. Recoveries have been really good and stayed healthy and did a nice little 3K swim tonight with my DeBoer mono wetsuit on. I was like, I got to stretch that thing out again before my next race. And I knew it was a heavy swim and taper week because I've got Ironman 70.3 main coming up on Sunday, even though I'm only doing the relay bike. I am going to do a run off the bike as well while I wait for my runner to finish. And so yeah, 3K swim. I was like, let me get the wetsuit on and put down some really good times. But that was back-to-back days of 5,000 yards. I'm feeling it right now, and whipped down as much food as I could to get on the podcast healthy.
There we go. Yeah, especially the wetsuit just adds that little bit more restriction. You feel it a lot in the shoulders if you haven't been spending a ton of time in it, for sure.
Exactly what I'm feeling right now is the extra shoulder. I've got one shoulder that has got some issues, and it flares up every once in a while with some overuse, and 2 days in a row of a lot of pulling. But it's fine. It's just been used, and that's a good thing. So can't complain. And it's been a really good build, successful. Got a flat tire the other day. I changed that out today. My wife came and picked me up like 2 miles from the house. I was like, hey, I got to run off the bike, so I'll run home. See you there. Thanks for picking me up. So I changed out my flat today and got the tires all ready. So I'll have a little shakeout ride to make sure that that's good to go for the weekend. But good to do that too.
Awesome. And you know what? It's never a bad thing to get that practice. As much as it sucks in the moment, it is a good habit to have. That's something I tell all my athletes in their practice, changing your tire, because God knows if you're out there in an Ironman or 70.3 and stuff, it could be hours by the side of the road before support gets to you. So it's definitely...
It might be hours, even with me doing it, but it won't be as long as waiting now that I've done it once.
Yeah.
It's really that last bit, getting that tight piece back on by the valve. That's tough. But once you do it once, you kind of figure out how to hold it.
Absolutely. And if anyone out there hasn't changed tires too often, the biggest tip I can give you is when you're putting the tire back on, try to keep the edges of the tire as close to the middle of the wheel as possible. That'll give you a little extra slack. So usually people just kind of line it up along the outside, along the edge of the rim, but try to push both sides into the middle. It makes it a little bit easier. You get a little bit more slack there, and it is never fun that last little bit. Never. I don't know how people do it with their thumbs and stuff. Like I
was like, wait, why is my thumb sore? I didn't do anything swimming. Come on. I was like, oh wait, I forgot. I was using my thumb at first before using my
levers.
And then the levers.
Fun.
So how about you? I think since the last time we talked, somebody had a little bit of a performance in a race that you jumped into.
Yeah. You know what? I have to say, you win the award for the most consistent on the podcast with training, because yes, I went out and raced last weekend and then had to take 5 days off running, unfortunately. So getting back into it now. Yeah, I don't know what it was. It was one of those like odd things on the flight over. I was over racing in Victoria, BC, which is a beautiful place to race. If you haven't done, there's an Ironman 70.3 there. I went over to do the duathlon as a little tune-up because the world champs are coming up in 3 weeks, which is very, very soon. But yeah, kind of after the flight, I was feeling this ache in my hip, which was bizarre. Hadn't felt it before. Get off the flight, it's kind of aching. And it was just kind of uncomfortable, that sore, achy feeling leading into the race. And race day, it was very painful for most every step, which was not the most pleasant. And one of those things where you're kind of questioning, should I stop or keep going? It was one of those like very borderline kind of calls, but it's hard to stop when you're in the lead.
And you know it, and you're like,
it's like, okay, I can made enough time on the bike, I can kind of cruise it through the run, and then I'm running, and I'm like, well, this really hurts with every step. This was probably a bad idea, but I'm halfway around the lake, so I've got to get back anyways. But so fortunately won, which is great. The Argon bike is definitely fast. I was only 2 guys outbiked me by 40 seconds. So if I'd known that, would have put in a little bit more time. But the bike is definitely dialed in with the aero testing I've been doing with Ghibli, setting up the new Argon. I am getting a lot of speed for the power I'm putting out, which is good because I've been doing a lot more working than training these days, and I will take every bit of speed I can get out there. But it was so much fun. Just like that place is great because it's such a great atmosphere. It's not that like Ironman setup where people can get a little intense at times. Everyone's just out there, have a good time, race hard in a beautiful place, and get a sense of community. So it was really, really a lot of fun. The race is the Victoria half. So if you're looking for something to do mid-year, check it out. we had almost a Paris-like situation. I almost got a lot more competition on the course. They had a blue-green algae advisory. So up until like the day before the race, they were like, you might all be doing duathlons. We'll wait and find out, which would have been awesome, I think. But
Yeah, for you. Although now that you know about the run injury-ish or flare-up, it would have been maybe a little different.
Yeah, that's the funny part. It's kind of like, I mean, more competition is always more fun, but it definitely helped not having as much. Then again, it was the closest race I've had so far this year. So that was kind of fun to have someone had to let the person go on the first run there and be like, okay, I'm going to make it up on the bike. And thankfully made it up on the bike and got enough time to get that win. But yeah, kind of. Awesome. Yeah, the last few days have been a lot of back and forth with my coach. It's funny. I rarely talk to my coach. It's one of those things like, just tell me what to do. I'll do it. I'll tell you if anything feels off kind of thing. But he's so on top of it with kind of playing this out because we are so close to my goal race for the year. So it was a lot of, okay, try this. How's that feel? Try this. How's that feel? And made it to the weekend. Had some pain-free runs, which is awesome. So as of today, kind of back into full training mode with 3 weeks until the World Championships. So, that is kind of
you know what? It might have been a good blessing in disguise to have that little bit of time off after pushing, getting the race mindset back there, having a little bit of a push, and then, all right, forced days off. They're never fun, but it will be nice to have fresh and feel like you've got to train to your best and get every little minute out of it. One of the things I've learned in a lot of my training is these sessions all count, and every one of them, even if it's an easy ride, just to focus on certain aspects of what I'm working on, my cadence. Like this ride I did this weekend, 90 plus cadence. I averaged 94 cadence, and that was the focus of that ride. It wasn't as much position. And so when you get that limited build to this next day race, you're going to spend every minute of every workout really focused on the things you need to tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely more hungry for the training and fresh. And it meant I got to do one of my favorite sessions, which is just wanted to cut the intensity for a bit. So I got to go out and just do a long aerobic cruise with no goals. My favorite thing, just head out by myself on the open road and do what feels good. Turn off the head and just turn the pedals. That is some of my favorite sessions.
I'm kind of looking forward to one of those, but I've packed my season, as we all know.
You really have, yeah.
But I'm the newbie. I mean, I got to do this, and we're still making gains. So, and staying healthy, and that's been the big thing. I mean, I got injured towards the end of last year and before that first marathon. So, I've been healthy for almost a year straight now, and knock on wood, we're making progress. So,
that's fantastic. Yeah, I need to figure out what I'm going to do after World Champs. I'm kind of, I don't know. Usually I have my goal races later in the year, but mid-August, it's kind of everything's open after that. So I'll see kind of what sounds like fun, what I'll jump into afterwards. But
I did find out Chicago apparently, so the foundation that we're running for, they sold out within hours of the charity opening up. And other charities are asking other charities on their Twitter, their Facebook group or whatever it is that they have. Nobody has spots. So I mean, I've reached out. It's just one of those things that now everyone, especially a marathon like that, where the goal number, the charity number that you have to raise isn't that high, it is in Boston and things like that. They just fill up so quickly. So unfortunately, that's not an option. But maybe, hey, look at Super Tri weekend in Chicago. Do that, which that must be late August, because Boston's the 19th, 18th.
I think that's the next weekend.
Yeah.
So I'll be a little too close with the flying back from Australia in there. I'm kind of looking at there's some gravel races and Belgian Waffle Ride will be over in Victoria. So I'm thinking I might finally go do some gravel racing. I haven't been putting anywhere near the volume that I need for it, but that's fine. I got years of training. I'll survive.
Yeah. I think you've been able to figure it all out, whether fully trained or not. So yeah, you'll be fine there. I did find out I had a call with Super Tri last week as well. and there's a chance that I might be getting a media pass to the Boston event, and maybe doing kind of like a mix zone interview thing. So stay tuned, everyone. We'll hopefully have a group of people from Super Try on before that. So in the next 3 weeks or so, get a couple coaches and some of the Super Try people on the podcast, and then hopefully I'll be live there interviewing the Alexies and Hayden Wilds of the world as they finish.
No, that'd be awesome. And that's honestly still to this date my favorite triathlon experience is spectating, is the formerly Super League race and stuff, just because they're such tight courses. They have great commentators usually on site telling you everything that's going on, big jumbo screens so you can follow the race, but you see the athletes just constantly. Like it just, especially some of these like 3K bike loops and go 800-meter runs and stuff. Like it is so much fun. The energy is great. So
and we've been fans of the enduro, which is what this one is too. So swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run, swim, bike, run.
One after the other, after the other. That's, I love it. Those 4 rounds are so much fun. And if anyone can go do some of those races, it's really painful, but awesome. The worst feeling I've had in triathlon is going from a full out run to swimming. That is just mean. Like, you look at these athletes do it and you're like, oh, that looks hard. And then you do it and you're like, oh, this is just awful. Like, I'm just trying to get oxygen at this point.
Yeah.
Well, we had some racing go on this weekend, and unfortunately we're missing a Fede to do the race rundown, so you will have to put up with the two of us to do it. But we had a big race here in Ironman Lake Placid, and it was, wow. There are 2 ways to go about this. 1, the racing was interesting. 2, if you just relied on the coverage, you wouldn't have known it. So first, we'll jump into the women's results here.
Thank God for the extra tracker, for sure.
Yes. It's sad when you need to have an app and follow social media and watch people's stories in order to get an idea of what is going on.
And wish you lived in a different country so that you could watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's just bad all around. But there was some good racing. A pretty incredible performance here with on the women's side, we'll start. We had Daniela Lewis just 2 weeks after finishing 5th at Challenge Roth. That is not a lot of turnaround time from an iron distance. She took her first full iron distance win of her career at Ironman Lake Placid with a 2:52 marathon, which is legit on that course. It's not an easy course there at all. And then we had second place, Jackie Herring pulled off another series podium after a win at Ironman Hamburg, and Alice Alberts, who was defending champion, rounded out the podium in 3rd. The news of the race, I think, though, was Sarah True. She, unfortunately, it was hard to watch in there. She was leading out the race, just absolutely smashing it, and then unfortunately it looks like the overheating hit her again, and this is something that we've seen with Sarah True before, just having that heat stress, and unfortunately it's one of those things, once you get that heat sickness, that heat stress to that degree, your body tends to be more susceptible to it, but that was really hard to watch. I don't even think they should have the cameras on her that much in there. It just, that wasn't good.
Well, that's part of the broadcast issues that they had. They were going to the one camera that was working half the time. But yeah, we've seen her have very similar issues. They talked about it during the broadcast, and knowing this is kind of similar to what she was doing, trying to cool herself off. And I did see she finally posted this afternoon and kind of explained what happened. And I guess it was around mile 16 where she started losing feeling in her hands and losing feeling in her face, and she didn't feel like she was overheating enough. And then eventually her husband actually came and pulled her.
Good,
that's where she was pulled. But she said about an hour afterwards she was doing better and feeling good, and she thinks it might be hypoglycemic, so low blood sugar, maybe not so much heat, but who knows? It's hard to tell. That it obviously the weather was not a factor. Once the rain stopped in the morning, it was probably in the low 70s and not too humid. So maybe it is a low blood sugar thing. It's something that she's going to get blood tests and try and figure out. It sounds like Joe Skipper's going to go get blood tests and try and figure out what happened to him. So, yeah, it was hard to watch because she had such a good race too, and she was running a great pace and not overcooking it, but just, I guess, not taking in enough. And she didn't mention any issues in terms of nutrition and things like that, but somehow it got up to her.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the conditions were harder than they're kind of talking about it with like they say it wasn't too hot and humid, but there were a number of athletes that seemed to be kind of in that heat stress kind of phase. You started to see it a lot more walking than you would expect in there. But yeah, I think
So
that
you
course
wonder too, like, is that because they didn't expect it to be an issue and maybe didn't hydrate as much as they would on an 85-degree day or a higher humidity day, and it just sneaks up on you so quickly, and the pace. I mean, the pace was ridiculous. We had 2 course records. I mean, both men's and women's races were super fast on the bike, on the run. And I mean, Danielle Lewis had the fastest bike, I believe, and she crashed. She went over a handlebar.
Yeah, that's another part of it. That I saw that crash in there too. She just kind of overcooked a corner and went down, and you know what? She got back up, got riding again, and it was seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Check everything out, make
impressive.
sure it's good, and just keep smashing it.
Yeah. And speaking of smashing, Matthew Marquardt, what he does on the bike now, it's like Magnus did lift level. Like, I'd love to see the two of them in a TT right now.
And it's so fun. It's different styles too. Like Magnus is so dialed in the aerodynamics and kind of locked in and stuff. And Marquardt just seems to have this power that he can put out on the bike. And especially a course like this, like that is not an easy bike course. And he just absolutely destroyed everyone on it. Like that was seriously impressive.
Yeah, well, he came in T2 like over 8 minutes up. I mean, and that's 7,000 elevation. And I think like Lionel and Trevor had cut the lead in the first half down to like 3 minutes or 4 minutes. And then he extended it in the second loop.
It's like, okay, see ya. And it's not like it's weak cyclists behind him either kind of thing. No, like that is
the best in the world.
Some serious time. And now that Lionel is shaving his arms and legs again, he's more a hero. Oh man. Yeah. So we had for the men's race, if you didn't follow along in it, we had Trevor Foley had an absolutely incredible performance here. Like we mentioned, Matthew Marquardt was leading the race for most of it. And they head into the run, and Trevor Foley and Lionel Sanders came in very closely together. Lionel took the time to change into run shorts and a running top, which, you know, for an Ironman comfort, it's not often that you're losing by 30 seconds. So cool. And if you need to make a bathroom stop is one thing they were talking about, then it's certainly easier than the one-piece tri-suit there.
Apparently he's tested it out, according to Ari Clow on the Triathlon Hour.
Yeah.
He's tested it out for the bathroom stop purposes specifically. And I mean, it is a longer transition, as we all know, in an Ironman to get out for that. But it was definitely interesting to see him running in a tank top. That was for sure.
It was. You know, Lionel Sanders has his own style, does his own thing. You gotta love it. But yeah, everyone had Lionel for the win in this thing. It's been so long since we've seen him win an Ironman, but when the Ironmans he has raced, he was always second to like massive names, like the best in the world kind of thing. So
and massive performances too, like people throwing down their best performances while it happened again.
Standout performances, and that's exactly what Trevor Foley delivered. He's been definitely up and coming for a while here, and he has a background as a collegiate runner and stuff, so the run is definitely a strength. That just till this point he hasn't been able to put it all together the way he did this weekend, which was seriously impressive. We had Trevor Foley, he, like I said, took the win, and he ran away from Lionel Sanders, and it was just, you know, it was actually good to see there. The one complaint in there, which we'll go into a lot more, is commercials cut out so much of this race, and cameras cut out so much of this race. It was a mess to try to watch this thing. Like, it really, really was. And I don't know about you, but I was watching on the outside, and every time there's a commercial break, it would kick me out of the feed.
Oh.
So I'd have to exit out, go back in to start watching again. I'm like, and
I didn't have that issue, but I mean, that would have put me over the limit, I think. I mean, I had it running on my phone, casted to my TV, and I had no issues with that connection. But yeah, the amount of commercials, the timing of the commercials, there was no rhyme or reason to it. And this has been an all season long type thing. But again, this is such a big race. And then late in the race, what are you doing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's get to the line. Let's see this coverage. It's not like it wasn't close. And then it got to the point where, like, when the Sarah True stuff started happening, they didn't even see the pass.
No.
So Danielle went past her, Jackie went past her, Alice went past her, and they're like, yep, and she's still holding on. And I think Danielle's coming up on her. And I'm like, let me refresh that tracker you guys made everyone use today. And yeah, they're all ahead of her. And I was like, but then the tracker was ahead of the coverage. And I was like, oh, I don't want to refresh it too much.
Yeah.
Because Alice Alberts was coming and Jackie was walking and they were all taking walk breaks. I don't think I saw Danielle walk. But Jackie definitely did. And I mean, and in the men's race, Trevor and Matthew both walked. And
yeah,
it sounds like Lionel stopped for the bathroom. I mean, he had some issues, but we didn't see any of that. They didn't show that. We didn't see Jackson have a really good run. Matt Hansen moved up. I mean, there was no coverage of like 5th through 10th or 4th through 10th, really.
Or half the bike ride.
Or half the bike ride, yeah. Which is why they instituted the tracker. But yeah, it was really bad on the bike for sure.
That begs the question, like, should this be part of the Ironman Pro Series if you can't cover most of the race because of issues broadcasting? Even on the run, I don't know if it was the same for yours, but they were like speeding up, slowing down as the signal like caught up, and it was just like, okay, this is giving me a headache to watch at this point. I just like, this is so.
Are they pedaling at 140 cadence right now?
And then 50. Like, really, if you're trying to push this as a broadcast package, you can't. Like, I am a super fan of like Ironman triathlon stuff. I ended up turning it off because it was just so, like I said, it kept kicking me out. It was shaky. Like, I couldn't watch it anymore. So I just followed along on the tracker till they finished. I'm like, okay, if I'm not watching. It
was as a fan, and I thought about you a lot, and Fede, like, just like how frustrating that is to those of us, and there's a lot of us in this industry that are trying to help spread the word, get this sport growing more than it is, because it has a lot of momentum right now. T100 and Super trying to pick up the momentum a little bit more. Ironman's the biggest beast out there, and they're dropping the ball on the biggest stage and their biggest events. And it's not like they broadcast every week. This is something that should be figured out.
Yeah.
And I get it on the bike, fine, whatever. But like drones, whatever you need to do. But when you get back to the stadium and you get close to town, there should not be any issues on the run. And like, you couldn't even, like, the finish line was chopping out, and the best coverage of the day was the YouTube age group finish line cam afterwards. I watched that for 4 hours straight, and there wasn't a damn, it didn't glitch once.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching Mike Riley cheer everyone in, and Trevor Foley and Danielle Lewis coming back out. And I sent Danielle a message. I was like, this is awesome to see you guys out there. And I know a lot of the champions do that at the Ironman events, but to see them out there and tossing t-shirts and with the attitude that they had, and it was special for them to be out there. So that was the best part of the day, was the freaking age group finish line cam.
Well, and you know what, they keep saying like, oh, Ironman's boring, it's long to watch, it's hard to commentate. I just spent 3 weeks watching the Tour de France with sprint stages that were more interesting than that. And the sprint stages, they all just cruise together until the last like 2 kilometers. Like, it's partly the coverage that you can't see what's going on, but they need to level up with the commentators. I'm sorry. Like, I love these athletes as people who inspired me when they're racing as pros and getting it done and stuff. But it's low energy. They don't know the athletes' names. They don't know how to pronounce them. There's no like stories on the athletes. Like, these Tour de France commentators, they know guy number 123 in the peloton came from this part of the world and his favorite meal is this kind of deal. Like, they spend a lot of time doing the research, so they have these things to talk about, like meals in the region and like different interesting points on there. But they just know so many of these athletes' stories that they actually have something to talk about when nothing's happening. And then you go to the Ironman coverage and it's like, they can't even pronounce their names right. And they're shocked by people who we as fans know are up and coming, and they're just surprised to see them kind of thing. And you feel like they really know the athletes of their generation very well and those that were up and coming when they're racing. But most of the time it feels like there's not a lot of research going into it. It's low energy, and it just, it could be done so much better.
I mean, it's a great comparison too, because I mean, what they do with the Tour de France, Christian, all of them, it's 21 stages of, let's say, average 4 to 5 hours, talking about the same people over and over and over again, 21 days. And there isn't one story I remember them telling twice. There isn't anything that lost my interest. And they're so good at what they do because that's their Super Bowl. And they spent the time to be ready for it.
And they're professional.
How many Pro Series races are on outside? And I mean, how often do they have to do this? So to not even, and this was the other thing, like they're promoting the Pro Series in the standings. And it was like, I could calculate what the results in the top 10 were going to be as the ladies were finishing, as the guys were finishing, because it was pretty easy to add 5,000 and then 4,600 or whatever it may be, and then figure out who wasn't racing. And like, they're all going to leapfrog them. And this is going to be our new 1, 2, 3. And like, they couldn't figure it out. It was like, that should lead the last few miles of the marathon.
Yeah, like talk about how it's changing, how things are going up. And even, so I was talking to Torsten Rad, who does Tri Rating over in San Francisco and stuff. He's like, I've tried to offer my services or give info to Ironman. They're just not interested. They don't see any value. And it's like, this could be a thing. You're counting down like, okay, if Lionel gets in this X amount of minutes, he'll beat this part of at this point in the rankings kind of thing. But if he takes this long, he'll be however many steps down. At the end of the year, that could be this much less money kind of thing. Like there are so many talking points that they could go into, but you just get the feeling that they don't know.
No, the only thing I think they kind of figured out was like, I think if Jackson holds on to 7th, he might get a Kona slot. And they were like trying to figure out who's already taken one and not. And I was like, no, he's getting Kona at 7.
Yeah. I know. So I was getting a little frustrated with that too, especially like I watched every minute of the Tour de France for 3 weeks and was entertained. And I had to turn this off because I was just getting so frustrated.
And then we watched the move every night and watched Lance and George talk about it.
Watch the recaps of the 5-hour race that I watched all day.
And Tade went from being the next Lance Armstrong to winning stages the correct way before it's all over done.
Yeah, the Tour de France, it was so good. But before we jump to that, let's see where the rankings are. I pulled these up before we got started here. So if anyone's curious where we're looking for the top 10 for right now. But Jackie Herring is at the top of the rankings with 14,400, followed by Danielle Lewis, Alice Alberts, Maya Stage-Nielsen, Kelly Simpson, Daniela Blamouth, Kat Matthews, Erin Schenkels, Vanilla Langridge, and Lottie Wilms. Although I will say, I'm guessing we're going to see Kat Matthews out there doing a few more races and getting some more points in there. I would be shocked if she didn't end up winning the series, but I like that there's so much range at this point. Like nothing's decided yet, which makes it a little bit more interesting.
And I think Danielle Lewis has 5 races accounted for too. So her in second, that's with the full 5, whereas Jackie Herring and Alice Alberts only have 4 each that they're counting.
Good call. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So they still have some more to gain just by another race and finishing. They're going to get more points, whereas Danielle has to have a better finish than what she has in her 5 currently.
To level up there. Yeah. And Kat Matthews only has 2. I'm surprised she doesn't have more 70.3. So I thought. But I guess, she really has it.
T100, and then she had the DQ in the one Ironman.
Yeah, Hamburg. Well, she will have to get some points over there in Kona or in Nice this year.
So you have the worlds, both worlds, and that's where it's going to come down to.
There'll be worth some extra points.
Because who's doing Frankfurt? That's the other one.
Mm-hmm. And then on the men's side, we've got Matt Hansen topping out the charts, followed by Jackson Laundry, and then Colin Schultz, Chris Lieferman, Matthew Marquardt, Arnaud Guillaume, Justin Riale, Trevor Foley, Stan Goutsvar, and Lionel Sanders up in 10th now. So he's on the board, and sounds like the main goal there was getting that Kona qualification spot. So he got that done. Speaking of which, we saw we didn't mention Joe Skipper. He ended up pulling out of the race and said he just wasn't feeling himself. You mentioned in there, but that means no Kona qualification spot. And I don't believe he has an entry to the next Ironman. So he could be entirely out of the world champs, which is, unfortunate to see.
And I actually watched the pro panel interviews too, and it got to, I think Joe started it for the men as the two defending champs, Alice and Joe started. He was in tears at the end of his interview, talking about his season and how hard it's been on him. And it was very shocking to see him get that deep and how much of a struggle it's been trying to figure out what's going on. And then to have the DQ the DNF yesterday, and pull out of the race, and then put a story up or a post up about why and how he's going to get testing done and figure out what's going on. Yet there he was at the beer mile this morning.
True.
But yeah, I mean, it's been something that's weighing on him, and we talk about this all the time. People who are enjoying racing and having fun racing, it just allows them to go out and do what they need to do. And I mean, imagine Danielle Lewis not being in the right mindset, crashing, and then like done.
Oh, the AC just out. Yeah.
But being in that mindset, I mean, she's in such a good place, like going to rough just to do rough and to be around that and be around. There's so many of them. Jackie Herring's back doing, and she wants to be in that hurt, and she got in that hurt yesterday and was still able to hold on for a second. So when you're in a bad mindset, it clearly shows performance-wise. It's so hard to get over the top of it until you can get the mind right.
Well, and that's just it, especially with Ironman. You can fake a lot of shorter distances, but with Ironman, it's absolutely as much of a mental battle as it is a physical one. So hopefully Joe can figure out what's going on there and be back to his winning ways. He seriously impressed me at that sub-7, sub-8 project, like coming so close to Christian off of no notice and just getting it done. That was an incredible performance, but the last while has not unfortunately gone his way. So hopefully we'll see him back to fighting form soon. It's unfortunate to see him in Kona. But
the last time we were there, he was in 5th. He finished 5th. So it'll be interesting to see how somebody like Trevor Foley and Jackson Laundry qualify for Kona. I mean, how they do. I don't think the course suits Trevor as much in Kona, so it'll be interesting to see a lot of new Matthew Marquardt. How does he go there?
That's just it. How do they deal with the heat? That's basically the question at the end of the day in Kona. How can you deal with the heat stress in there? And what does that mean for Lionel Sanders? Like, I'm sure he's not, like he stated, Kona was the goal. He wants that world championship result. He's going after it. And this wasn't exactly a Kona winning performance. It was so great to see him back there and racing again, but I'm kind of curious where his headspace is after.
Can he run? Can he run to win Kona? I mean, I don't know if he's got a sub 240 in him.
Well, and he doesn't have the bike advantage that he had years ago, because everyone, he puts out some power, and man, can that man suffer. But everyone else has put a lot of time into building that power and bike strength and just getting slippery in the wind. So they are moving faster and more efficiently, right? So be curious to see how it shakes out. Should be a good race at least. But the Tour de France, incredible race. It was so much fun to watch in there. And this Pogačar, Vingegaard battle for the last few years has definitely kept it interesting because it would be no fun if it was just one of them off the front. This is definitely one of those rivalries that'll be remembered forever.
It was an awesome 3 weeks. It was an awesome final week in the mountains again, the final 2 weekends. And we saw who was in the best form and in the best space, clearly. It was nice to see Jonas bounce back in the last couple of stages. It's amazing he made the start line. We talked about this. I mean, to be where he was 6 weeks, 7 weeks before the tour, and then to get there was amazing. To show he was in shape enough to compete was unreal. And then to tag along having Remco step up and really show that he belongs. And not only on the TT bike and doing that, he was climbing. And he's like, I'm going to do my own thing in the mountains. And he's a good long climber. So like a tour like the Vuelta and things like that might not suit him well with the steeper climbs. But it's he's going to be somebody to reckon with for a while. And Matteo Jorgensen, man, what an awesome performance from the U.S. And who knows if these guys were on different teams and they were actually the captains, what could they do?
That's just
Matteo was pulling for Tade for Jonas the whole way.
Mm-hmm. No, it was absolutely incredible. And ending up 8th after putting all that work in, just trying to pull him along. And I got to give a shout out for Derek G, Canadian, top 10 in there, getting 9th place, which was incredible. But, Vingegaard, this is the most emotion we've ever seen him. Like sometimes, I guess, people don't really connect with him because he seems like this robot-like figure, and Pogačar is this like having fun, kid racing kind of energy, and Vingegaard was just kind of get it done, do the thing, win. But he really went through something with that crash. And it sounds like 2 punctured lungs and just like, man, to be able to be second best in the world after that is absolutely astonishing.
And to get through a couple scary moments in this tour where his tire and his wheels were slipping out and he's on a descent and like
after that, yeah.
Now they all have that at some point.
Totally.
But to have that coming off a crash, and I think Christian talked about it, like those crashes can take years, if not careers, to figure out and come back from fully before you descend at 55 miles an hour as opposed to 49 or 52. Like it's a big difference when you're descending, and Tade knew it, and that's where they really pushed him, was on the descents and tried to get away.
What impressed me though was Pogačar on that final time trial. He was pushing the limit of every single corner. He got like a 5-minute lead going into this thing, and
all you have to do is finish.
No holding back, right? You just have to make it to the finish line intact.
I was getting scared. I get anxiety watching them descend, and I got anxiety on that TT course.
How could you see those drone shots? Like that looked phenomenal. That's where it's like, oh my God, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah, I want to go ride that. And George kept talking about how he rode that, and it's some beautiful ride. And that's not an easy TT course either. I mean, that climb out of Monaco is not fun. You could tell right from the beginning that we got to witness a lot of riders just like we're out here for the day, like Cav. I mean, like Cav's like barely in TT. He wasn't even in his bars.
It was so fitting that he got the Flamme Rouge though, like last place to finish it out. And kudos to him for going through the mountains and like finishing the race. He could have said 35, no more sprint stages, peace out, and done.
Yep.
But no, he had his team around him and he finished out the event. Although I will say, it feels anticlimactic with the time trial for the last stage. Like, why
they talked about this, Lance and George, you can't have a sprint finish in Nice. It's not like the Champs. It's not set up to have that wide group sprint finish safely. You're kind of twisting and turning through the streets, and it's not going to work. And not that the cobblestones are great either, but it's a wider finish. So unfortunately, if they have to go back to Nice, it sounds like it would always have to be that time trial. finish.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, there's something that final sprint. That would have been such a fairy tale moment if like Cav got 36 on the Champs-Élysées in the last day. Like, oh, that would have been incredible.
It certainly was anticlimactic. And for my wife, who got into it and started watching the move with me after, and like, she was like, wait, that's it? Tade won? It's over?
You just wait. The end. Yeah.
He's the last one out there.
And the riders usually get to drink champagne and take pictures from us that stage.
No, we're gonna go FTP test on the hardest. And it doesn't mean anything. The only thing that mattered was like 10th and 11th, and that was it.
I know. Oh, just craziness. But no, it was definitely an epic tour, as always. And I heard Pogačar pulled out of the Olympics, actually. Which, I'm surprised by how many athletes are actually doing the Olympics after a 3-week tour. That is probably more shocking than him pulling out. It's just how many people are going to back it up. But, at least now some other people have a chance to win. But we jump right into the Olympics at the end of this week, which I am way too aware of because I am doing, digital marketing for Cycling Canada for the Olympics. So I have been living and breathing start lists and races and schedules for the Olympics the last little while. And it's pretty fun to get into it because there's going to be some epic racing. Once again, we are not lacking for great stuff to watch in endurance sports these days.
No, I'm just treating today like a day off in the tour, and I'm going to probably have that feeling tomorrow, like, whoa, I can't put Peacock on today.
I don't, it was so fun in my office, even like set up the TV so I could like watch it as I was working all day and keep it going. The boardroom at my office has like this massive 90-inch TV that was more often than not taken over with the tour. If you guys don't mind. No, it's so much fun to have that day in, day out.
But like you said, we got the Olympics coming up, and a lot of big Ironman and T100s and T100 London, which we can get into.
Speaking of which, we have a big one coming up this weekend, which I'm so excited to see this go down as much as I can. It's at the men's race at the same time as Ironman Calgary, so I'll be like on my phone cheering Mauna athletes, on my phone watching T100, seeing how it all goes down. But let's jump into it. T100 in London. Sounds like this course is going to be pretty flat overall, which is kind of disappointing after the fun of San Francisco, like totally mixing up. So this may end up being more of a runner's race, but let's jump into who's racing on the women's side. We have Amelia Watkinson, Anne Haug, Anne Reichman, Ashley Gentle, Chelsea Sodaro, Emma Pallant-Brown, Grace Thack, Haley Chura, Imogen Simmons, India Lee, Kaida Kaboja, Kat Matthews, Laura Madsen, Laura Phillip, Lisa Norden, Lucy Byram, Lucy Charles Barclay, Marjolaine Pierre, Sophie Caldwell, and Tamara Jewett. So, stacked field. And, no Taylor Knibb, so we won't have someone off the front. They'll actually be battling it out here, which will make it more interesting.
No, the usuals actually have a chance of winning this time.
Right? I'm so curious to see how Anne Haug goes. She just had that absolutely incredible performance at Challenge Raw, fastest time ever by a female athlete. And it's kind of like, well, she's in super great form. How much damage did she do at Challenge Raw? And we really haven't seen her in the T100 yet. So be really curious to see how she goes out there.
And it's one thing to do what Danielle Lewis did and do back-to-back Ironmans a couple weeks apart. Who else did we have? Who did back-to-back? Roth and Victoria. But going from Ironman into the T100 or 70.3,
long to short.
Different beast when you're
short
red line. Yeah. Especially in a field like this where there's no Taylor Knibb. So it's going to bunch everyone up. There are going to be packs chasing down Lucy Charles and Lucy Byram. I mean, you're going to have your couple swimmers out. But for the most part, it's going to be everyone else chasing on the bike. And it'll be interesting to see what Ash Gentle we get, what Chelsea Sodaro we get. These guys haven't raced a lot. And it's been a while. And it's a different course and different weather.
I want to see Ash Gentle in Lucy Charles Barclay. See, they really haven't had too many clashes head-to-head yet, and both rock these series like when they're on it. I don't know. With Anne Haug, I'm kind of, half of me is kind of like, well, I don't know if she'll really factor. Like you said, doing the long to short is just not great. But
this could be a check for her too, right? She hasn't shown up to a T100 yet.
Well, yeah, and isn't she? She's already behind on her contract obligations, isn't she?
Yeah,
She
but
didn't
there's
do
so many
anything.
loopholes in those contracts is what we're finding out. Like nobody's off their contract because they just legally didn't have them tight.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Maxie Newman. I mean, he hasn't been.
Man. So it'll be interesting to see there. You got some bike power with Lisa Norden in the field. And of course, Kat Matthews will be tearing up the bike as well. And then India Lee, we're going to see her back on here. And she had that incredible performance at the start of the year. So be curious to see how she shakes it up. I like that there's more variety, like you said, with the climate especially, because we know a few athletes like Ash Gentle, put her in hot, humid, crazy temperatures, just going to smash it, right? I can't imagine London is going to be too crazy hot this weekend. And you have the Lucy Charles Barclay on home soil. That definitely gives you a little bit of boost there too.
I think the home soil thing is going to be a big thing for a number of them. Lucy with a couple seconds, taking San Francisco off, coming back, and no Taylor Knibb, she knows she's got an opportunity. So it's a tough one to call for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Curious to see. Well, it should be some great racing to watch go down. We know Ashley Gentle and Amelia Watkinson both just had coach changes. I think I heard Chelsea Sodaro did as well. So be curious to see if we see anything different there. I'm a little curious why they changed coaches. You always kind of, wonder what's going on there, whether it's like, okay, did not have the performance, especially Ash Gentle, because she's been destroying the T100 for, well, the 100-kilometer distance before it was T100 for a while there. So I guess we'll see if we see different athletes this weekend.
And it does look like the weather's going to be like, so Fahrenheit, low 70s.
Oh, okay. It's like
low to mid 70s, mostly partly cloudy, sunny a little bit, but yeah, no rain.
That'll
pretty decent for London.
Yeah, and especially that course, if it's flat, it's just going to be, hopefully they don't all just roll around on the bike together. But they will have race ranger, I'm assuming, and T100 has that 20-meter draft rule. It definitely breaks it up a lot more. People can't just roll around in packs as much. So hopefully we'll see some good racing there. That is definitely that women's field. I think I'm more excited about the women's race than the men's because it's just, there's so many possibilities there. But
they're both good fields, but I agree with you. The women's field without Taylor Knibb just adds that different factor, and it makes it a race for first. Whereas before, we're like, all right, who's getting on the podium?
who's fighting out for second and third? Yeah. Then on the men's side, we've got Aaron Royal, Alistair Brownlee, Ben Canute, Clement Mignon, Daniel Backegaard, David McAmey, Frederick Funk, Gregory Barnaby, Jason Stratman, Jason West, Kyle Smith, Leon Chevalier, Magnus Dietlow, Max Newman, maybe Peter Heinrich, Rico Bogan, Rudy Von Berg, Sam Laidlow, Sam Long, and Yuri Kulin. Whew.
Yeah.
Which Sam Laidlow will we have show up?
The one who doesn't care because he got his Kona slot. we didn't even talk about that.
I guess we still need to do the F and stuff afterwards, but we'll definitely jump into a lot more of that. But I'm hearing rumblings that Brownlee is saying that he is fit and ready to fire, and talk about some good vibes at home soil with his last race in London went pretty well, winning the Olympic gold medal. Hopefully pull some good vibes from that.
Yeah, he's again, the home turf is definitely a factor in this one because they get one race, whereas the Americans have a few different options. But I think this is their race to go get. Man, it's going to be fast on the men's side too, when you're talking about that bike and not as hilly of a course. And now Sam Long with a T100 build. I think there's not many of them in this field that have been T100 focused. They've all done other races. but Alistair has been T100 focused. Sam Long has been T100 focused. So it'll be interesting to see if Sam can have a decent swim. To me, I think Sam's my favorite just because of the focus he's been on.
Yeah.
And
Will
literally
he
just
break that second place curse?
right. I think we might have 2 second place curses broken this weekend. I think we might have LCB and yo take it in for
Well, they seem to like finish in the same place all the time too.
Right, all the way through.
Man,
and Sam's gonna have the pressure if she does that, right? Because the women are on Saturday and the men are on Sunday.
Yeah, if she wins, he's got to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. But you know what? Magnus Dietleff is a hard character to pass up for a win in there, especially at this T100 series on a flat course where those aero gains really make a massive difference too. You can see him kind of tearing up that bike. But
it'll be interesting to see how the Kona athletes start to approach the T100 as we get closer. And even with the women in Nice too, if this just becomes a contract check and get through, you've already got a few results and you're doing okay in the standings, and the grand final is really what matters. But you've got to focus on long distance, and we've already seen. I mean, look, Lionel finished third, and he had a good showing, but Lionel doesn't look like he's ready to compete in Kona. But we know Magnus, and we know Sam Laidlow, even though he had a DQ, was still right there in second. It was having a pretty decent day. But how do they approach the shorter distance, and how important is it to them to finish these next few races before Kona?
And with the women's, that's coming up even faster with Nice in September. So we're really kind of getting into that time frame. And then there's a few athletes we don't know, because we haven't heard anything if Alistair is going to be doing something like Frankfurt, trying to get that spot, or if he's just going all in on T100. And
we should be able to find out too if he is doing Frankfurt.
I don't think
I don't know if they dropped the list. Yeah. We would know. I would probably find out if he's even on it, right? Because it's closed. There's no more entries, because that's what they were talking about with Sam Laidlow. It's like you can't get on it. It's locked. And I think you have to do it 3 weeks out. So there was no way for him to do Lake Placid or Frankfurt. Was one of the things. I guess you only have until 3 weeks, if there's even a spot, which there was.
Yeah, and they end up closing that one a lot earlier, it sounds like. Yeah, that's interesting. It's definitely, that's where this T100 kind of is good and bad. You don't quite know where people are with that. Some of them have straight out said, and that's one thing for Lucy Charles Barclay too. Like, she said she's doing Nice, and that's coming up in September. So gotta think she started to tailor some of that focus to the long distance instead of just focusing on the intensity that she has been doing going in.
How hard of a training day does she have in London?
Right. Yeah, I know. And I think it's really, you do see that out on course. Like, you can definitely see the difference. And people, like, a few of them have Ironmans in their legs recently. So it's just definitely changes that for sure. So good call with Sam Long. Definitely he's focused on T100, getting it done, putting it out there. I guess I should make a pick in there too. Man, I want to pick Alistair, but every time I do, it just doesn't work.
No. Don't forget, we still have Kyle Smith in this one too. So it's, I mean, there's Martin Monreal's out. He's doing the Olympics. But Kyle Smith's there.
Yeah, true. I'm gonna do it one last time.
He's not letting go, Alistair.
He's been playing with the Ghibli aero sensor, so I'm going to say he's super slippery and aerodynamic.
Unbelievable.
I know.
It's not a bad pick. We know that. And then I think the weather's going to be on his side, and he's at home, and neither of the Brownlees made the Olympic team, so this is their opportunity.
Yeah, curious to see what Johnny gets up to after this.
Super Tri.
Haven't really heard anything there.
No, they got their Super Tri team.
Oh, right. Yeah, super dry. Yeah, the Brownlee team. That'll be good to see.
Yeah.
Okay, on the women's side, who do you got there? I'm really having a hard time picking here.
I mean, I almost talked myself out of going with Lucy Charles. I'll let you go first on the women's side since I went first on the men's.
Oh man, let's see. I want to say Anne Haug is in crazy shape, but 2 weeks after an Ironman, that's pretty rough in there. I'm gonna go Ashley Gentle. You know what? She knows this distance. She crushes it. Hopefully, she's excited and reinvigorated with a new coach, and also using an aero sensor at the moment, so she'll be fast out on course.
It's a good pick. It's a really good pick. My concern with my pick is, again, that same thing, the Ironman factor. And like you said, with Annie doing Roth, Kat and Lucy being focused on Nice, I really think Kat is in a good spot right now. And I feel like she just loves winning and she just wants to win.
She's gritty.
And Lucy is defending champ. Mm-hmm. So, like, I want to defend Kona. I want to prove that I'm not just Kona and I can climb. And so I'm going to go with Kat at T100 London.
Yeah, she's going to take it?
Yep.
I like it. Well, let's run through our social media and what the F. How about we start with social media? Because I think we'll have some thoughts on the what the F.
Well, I mean, I almost think we should just do like multiple what the Fs.
At this point, we really could.
It is. I mean, so the social media posts, and if you check out both Danielle Lewis and Trevor Foley's pages, and Jen and I talked about this, I think, before we got on air. Their run, I believe they both broke the record on run. They both broke the course records overall as well. But Trevor had his 5K splits where he was sub 20 all the way until maybe the last 5 or 10 kilometers to go. And I mean, just absolutely insane pace that he held until he got the lead, really. And even then, maybe just a little bit before he could see Matthew Marquardt. It was the one part they did get on the coverage right was you could see Trevor Foley just like tracking him down. He was totally. He's like, do I pass him yet or not? I was like, I should. This was after I had just raced too, and I passed the guy too early, and I left too much time, and he got me again with a quarter mile, like 1/10 of a mile left. But this was the same thing. I was like, Trevor, just hold off. Don't pass him yet. Let him go. He knows you're there. Let him just stay your thing. And you could see as soon as he got in front, he used a little bit extra, had to walk. And but it's insane. I mean, you look at those, to see him broken out, and we've talked about this before in some of the other crazy run splits that we've seen, but the 5K after another, and the consistency. And Danielle Lewis was, I mean, hers had a couple sub 20s, and then everything else was 20, 21. I mean, just consistent all the way through. And you can see where they were on the course too. It was like the first 5K and the fifth 5K were like, all right, second loop, first loop, downhill section before the uphills. And man, those uphills look brutal especially on the second lap. And what an awesome performance. And I mean, we talked about it a lot already, but it was an epic race for an epic course on the 25th anniversary and just the whole day. So yeah, check out both of their pages. Give them all the high fives and kudos and all of that anyways, because they both deserve it, and both of theirs first long distance wins. So really cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Very cool. Have to check those out. And on to the what the F. We said we'd go into it a little bit more. But there was a little bit of drama with Sam Laidlow, which is not new. But he did that Ironman race, and what happened apparently was he was given a drafting penalty, and he decided not to serve that penalty, which resulted in a disqualification, and said that he was going to contest it at the end of the race. Now, if you don't know, if you're given a penalty and you don't serve it, automatic DQ, it won't be reversed. Like it really won't. So if athletes do want to contest it, typically they would stop for the penalty, take it, finish the race, and keep moving forward. Sam decided not to do that. And it was really weird on the coverage too, because you knew for a while he was in the lead, but they weren't talking about it at all. And then they went through the DQ. So the weird thing about that on a couple sides is as his results in Kona before, and well, at Nice, he just has to do a validation race to qualify for the World Championships in Kona. So he just has to get through a race. So you think if you got a 5-minute penalty, yeah, it might take away the win, but if you serve it, finish out the race, you're qualified for Kona and you can do the big race for the year in there. So he was taking one hell of a gamble by not taking that penalty, seeing if he can contest it and still get that Kona spot. But even just leaving it that late in the year, like when you have all that runway, fire him. I would have done it way earlier, just kind of cruise through an Ironman and take it off the list. So he did end up contesting it after the race, and they said, no, we're holding up the penalty, like you did draft. He apparently went back to them saying, well, if you look at my race ranger data, I spent less time in red than everyone else, which doesn't really matter. If you're spending time in red when the draft busters are there, then you get the drafting penalty. The what the F really, though, is Ironman has some pretty vague verbiage around their rules for these qualification races. So Sam went back to Ironman and said he believes he should still get that Kona validation. And Ironman agreed with him. So he will be racing the World Championships. They said he did validate his spot. He put in a solid performance, and that was the goal of the validation. So he will get that start in Kona. I don't know. That sets a bad precedence. Like, it'd be one thing if he served the penalty and contested it afterwards. To give someone of that high profile, say, totally fine, you ignored the drafting rules and the referees and just went on and did what you felt like anyways, but we're still going to let you go race Kona. That doesn't give me warm and fuzzy feelings. What do you think, Josh?
I mean, they found a loophole to be able to explain it the way they wanted to get their defending champion in the race. And I don't think anyone was ever doubting whether or not he was going to be racing. It was how they were going to explain it and appease everyone on both sides, the competitors and the marketing brands and the sponsors and all of that. Who knows if they'll change the validation rules going forward? I don't think they will. Do the defending champions get an automatic slot? There was some recent stuff come up in golf, like Tiger Woods can play in the British Open until he's 60. And one of the other golfers was like, I think he should have to prove himself. And like, he's not that good anymore. And like, well, this is kind of a similar situation. Defending champions in other major sports kind of have a free pass. So maybe they go that route, but I'm not surprised. It is unfortunate because literally, like you said, all he had to do was stop at the tent, take his penalty, contest it afterwards. He didn't need a result.
No.
He just needed to finish the race. And that's the part that I think most people are like, whatever. Like, he doesn't deserve to be there because all he had to do was serve his penalty, finish the race, and not care about it. He could have finished 30th, and he would have validated it.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. So it used to be that the Ironman championship winner would get a spot free and clear for the next 5 years. They didn't have to validate. They didn't have to race again. But they ended up changing that rule because they wanted athletes racing more of their races more often. And then they had a very loosely worded one where I think it was Miranda Carfrey kind of jogged around in Ironman and like, no, that doesn't work either. You have to be competitive in it, which is fair. The thing that I like about having to do that validation and having that rule of competitiveness is it puts everyone on an even playing field. So if you just have to, if there's one person that only has to do that one Ironman in a year, they definitely have a little bit more of an advantage. With some that like, in every other regards, it's as if you didn't do this race by just saying no to the referees. I think that's the part that bugs me the most, is that you flagrantly disregarded the rules and the referees and said, I'm going to do what I want anyways.
And he tried to say that there was a miscommunication and it was not clear what he was supposed to do. And it's like, these are the rules that have been in place.
You're a professional athlete, right? Yeah.
This is your job to know this stuff, not go ask your dad what the rules are type stuff. And come on. I mean, as age groupers, we need to know this stuff. And as a professional, you better damn well know that.
I was kind of surprised with how they went about it. I could, like, he was going to get a spot. I was guessing they'd do something like, because they do have the wild card options. I was 100% sure they were just going to give him a wild card. But anything we're saying to people, you can just disregard the rules and we'll reward you anyways. That's just not a good look, especially with like recent controversies and stuff. Like, we just want clean, fair sport where everyone's on the same playing field.
Well, when it comes time for October, we're still going to have to now decide whether or not he's going to win.
I know, right?
Because he's absolutely in the picture when it comes to the long distance.
Oh, 100%. So, yeah, that was a little bit of a what the F for me. We'll see what happens over there in Kona. But for all you age group athletes, follow the rules. You don't want to DNF. That sucks, especially like all that work and time. With the Pro Series, too, like he doesn't get any points or rankings or anything. Like, serve the penalty. Move on.
That's another reminder. You say age groupers follow the rules and do that. Like age groupers, stop sharing videos of you on the bike course drafting.
Oh my goodness! I yelled at someone in the race last weekend. These two guys were literally doing a pace line during the non-drafting race in there. And even doing the pace line, like I could see them swapping turns every like 2 to 3 minutes as I was coming up on them. And I just yelled at them like, guys, non-drafting race. As I'm riding by solo. So you're not even going fast doing it. So I was so fed up because it took me a while to catch up with them. But I was just like, guys.
Yeah, that'll never change, unfortunately. It's still crazy to me that people share videos of them literally breaking.
Unreal. Well, what is draft legal and what we will be talking about next week as it gets closer is the Olympics are coming up. It all kicks off this Friday, which I'm so excited about. But we will have next week, midweek, will be the Olympic distance triathlon, followed by the mixed team relay, I believe, a few days later. And, Taylor Nipp's just going to race everything in between. So a solid week of racing. Oh, she's not doing the road race. She's just doing the time trial, individual race, and possibly the relay. I guess we'll have to wait and see there. But we will break it all down next week and give our Olympic predictions going into that. And, of course, do a recap on the T100 in London. So definitely give that a watch. It should be some epic racing. That's one thing I do enjoy about these T100 races. It is the top of the top. Racing every time, keeping the pressure on and keeping it interesting. So we will have some fun following that. And good luck to you, Josh, this weekend. Have an awesome race.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe my first Ironman podium, although with help from two others. Okay. But we got a swimmer who's ready to go downriver. And then let's see if I can do a 3K elevation bike ride in 240 or less. So we'll see.
Get it. You're going to run afterwards for a training day, but just full gas on the bike, have some fun.
I'm not running an all-out half marathon after.
Right. Like I mentioned, if you are down in Calgary for Ironman 70.3 Calgary, definitely check out, like I said, the show notes. I'll put some links in to come join us. We'll have some social time, the Mauna Pop Up Shop, and an open water swim where you may see a number of DeBauer wetsuits, but just a chance to get a little sense of community because we all love this crazy sport.
Absolutely. And same thing goes for Maine. Even though we don't have a full-on Mauna thing, there's going to be a couple of us Mauna athletes there. So shoot me a message if you're going to be at 7.3 Maine.
Wicked. Well, have a great rest of your week, and we will be back to recap everything next week.
Awesome. See you, everyone.